This is the gathering of members of the Old School Drinking Podcast. You might ask why you're doing a new podcast considering the millions that exist. Our goal is simple to encourage people to gather in neighborhood bars and talk. Talk not only to people who agree with you, talk to people who think you're an idiot. Understand that the only way we will survive as a society is if we can get beyond our various camps and identities. This is why we're here, to save an institution that historically brought us together. Also, we like to drink. I would order it, and people would look at me in Wisconsin like, "What
The
are you
hell is
doing?
wrong with you?
What are you doing?"
What are you? What? Yeah. Yeah. No, I started drinking Rolling Rock because the Oasis had bucket specials where you'd get 5 for $10.
I can totally understand that.
And at the time, like we'd go in, a buddy of mine and I, and we'd get a bucket for $10. We'd get frozen pizza, which was $6.
That they would cook in the bar. Yeah.
In the little pizza oven, and then we'd tip $2, and I'd have $2 left over for pinball, and that was a whole night.
There you go. That's a plan.
You know, that was my life from like 1997 until 2004.
Well, you had a plan.
And then they took the pinball machine out, and I was like,
I feel the same way
"What
about.
did you do to me?"
I feel the same way about 15-cent McDonald's hamburgers. What can I say?
Okay, yeah, you got me on that one. I mean, are you ready to dive in, kick off?
What now?
Are you ready to dive in and kick off?
Sure. Anytime you're ready.
We've been rolling since I started talking about.
Oh, good. So there's some stories in here. Okay, that's excellent. Okay, today is the 21st gathering, Lucky 21, of the Old School Drinking Group. Today we're at a different bar. What bar are we at here?
This is Cunneens Tavern in East Rogers Park on Devon Avenue.
Right next to Devon Market.
And just down the street from Devon Hardware.
Yes, another really good place.
And we're sitting not at the bar for once. We were sitting in a little booth-style table
you
up
might
at the
want
window.
To swerve it around to show them that we have a great view of what's going on here.
On the way out.
Okay.
The upside is we're going to have the best lighting of any recording that we've done so far.
No, I thought the lighting was pretty good.
Well, no, this is like we've got like all natural light right here.
Oh, okay.
As the sun continues to drop down, it's going to be hitting us right in the face.
Okay.
We're going to get direct sunlight.
Today the co-hosts are John and Joe. Gee, that's a surprise.
Yeah, one of these days we're gonna like surprise everybody and have 2 other Johns and Joes.
That would be good. So, what are we drinking tonight?
Well, you were just making fun of me. Rolling Rock.
And I am going for the hard stuff.
A terrible beer, but I like it.
I'm going for the hard stuff.
What you drinking?
Tullamore Dew. Only because they didn't have Bushmills Black.
You're drinking the good Dew.
Well, I'm not sure. I think
between Tullamore and Mountain, you're definitely drinking the better Dew.
Okay, good. We visited the Galloway Galloway Arms.
Galloway Arms, yeah.
It is last week a real Irish bar.
Oh yeah, that place is great.
Concerned. And they actually did have every kind of Irish whiskey possible. One of which was Powers that I'd never had before. Have you ever had Powers?
I have not.
It was actually quite good and not as expensive as either Tullamore, even the various other varieties of Irish. It was actually quite nice and inexpensive, so I'm looking for that. But most of the bars in the North End are not oriented toward that.
Oh,
They're
most of the
more
bars that we go to are
Jameson.
shots and beer.
in their Jamesons.
Dive bars. These are not places with high class
High class.
beverages. These are not places you go in and ask for a complex drink. Like you come in and ask for, what's the espresso martini? They'll pour you a shot of Malort. They'll just pour you a shot of Malort and be like, "Fuck off, here you go."
Close enough.
You know.
So a different thing in drinking. That's interesting.
Hey.
There's a lot of crap that has happened. We haven't had a vision for a while because you were on the road.
Yeah, I took a week off. I was going to take 2 weeks off, but thanks to certain individuals and their desire to avoid going to jail, so they started international conflicts. Gas prices went up, and I decided it was time to come home. But yeah, I had a great vacation, and now we're back.
Okay, and you visited the East Coast. You saw the Atlantic Ocean.
Oh, I stuck my head into it.
There you.
I screamed at the fishes. It was a little cold. It was very salty.
It would be nippy. There's been a lot going on around here and in the world in the last few days. In our area,
I hadn't noticed.
In the hyper news, the stuff that's happened. In our co-op, we had a tree fall down in the wind since we had some big wind, which surprised me because I would expect if the tree's going to fall over, because we have wind all the time, that it would be more likely to happen when there were leaves on the tree rather than when they're naked. But in this case, it fell over, knocked a hole in the fence, and blocked the sidewalk.
Do you know what kind of tree it was?
No.
Okay.
It was a big tree. How's that?
Yeah, my thoughts are with the erratic weather, the freezing and thawing of the soil, the fact that I don't think the soil properly froze at all this year.
Yeah.
What you'll notice if you spend enough time in Chicago, that every time there's a big storm, a couple of trees go down. Yeah. It's just a question of which trees. And it's never ones you think are going to go down.
The city has been doing generally a good job of cutting the trees in the right of way.
Oh yeah.
They have people that are going around and checking. They just cut one big one, and when they cut it down, about a quarter of the root ball was rotten. So they got it early enough that it was a good deal. On everyone's property, though, we actually get arborists to come in every year and inject various things and do all sorts of things as far as that's concerned. But they didn't catch this, obviously.
Yeah. And bam.
And bam, it fell over. The other thing that, from my standpoint on the hyperlocal news, is one of my favorite places to go get lunch is Sub Brothers.
Yeah.
On Morris. And they just passed their 30th anniversary. And I don't think they're going to be very many more. They're both older, and I think in the next few years, they're probably looking to retire and sell the business, would be my guess.
That would make sense.
But that would be a thing that would break my heart because I really like the guys. And they do a good job of trying to keep prices down and serve reasonably good food. So there was also a fire on North Shore that was set by someone who later was charged with murder.
Yeah.
Because a fireman actually died. He was walking through the thing and fell through the floor. And they pulled him out relatively quickly, but, relatively quickly is a term.
Yeah.
So that's too bad. A toast to our fire people.
Thank you to all the first responders.
We appreciate you, and we know how dangerous it is. And more than that, one of the things as an outsider that has moved to Chicago from the West Coast, I am more than in awe of the fact that they fight fires in the winter around here. That's got to be probably one of the worst things that you can do.
What, being trapped between sub-zero temperatures and
spraying
fire
water all over the place, all over you and
water.
everything else.
Well, they're equipped for it. They're trained for it.
I'm sure they are, but I'm also sure it's not a good thing.
We'll have to go visit a fireman bar.
Actually, that would be a good idea.
There are a few, so
That would be a
we'll
good
get that
idea.
we'll get on the roster.
Okay.
Also, there was the young woman, Loyola student that
We'll
was shot.
talk about that too. Yeah.
I'm
That's
saying
in the more
that's hyper local because that's right down the street.
Okay, well, let's talk about that right now then. One night at 1 in the morning, some of the students from Loyola were out walking around the pier, which is something they should be able to do, although the park itself is theoretically supposed to close at 11. That's another whole matter.
That's a whole thing, and I have beef with the Chicago Police Department for driving me out of the park at sundown for decades, and then the pandemic happened, and they just stopped doing anything. And I'm actually surprised that there haven't been more, incidents, or if there have been, they've done a really good job of covering it up.
Well, and this is just horrendous, and no one can figure out why this happened. Someone walked up to her and shot her.
Well, this is the other thing. Like, I haven't gotten a good, clear description of what actually happened.
Yes, I would agree.
And the fact that they were able to say they've identified the suspect based on his gait and the fact that he had a limp and he just happened to be a Venezuelan illegal, undocumented,
Well, and they
person.
knew where they actually watched him go.
There's
home.
a whole bunch of, like how was this one able to be solved so quickly, yet other murders have not been touched?
Well, they're not.
I'm
going to be blunt and say that most of the murders that occur around here are not young female college students.
That is also true, but
and Loyola is a powerful organization.
Yeah, no, they've been destroying my neighborhood for decades. You heard me.
Yes. So
anyway,
so I'm thinking that's part of what goes on. It does not.
It's still a tragedy.
It is more than a tragedy for an 18-year-old looking forward to the rest of their lives, just out having fun. Mm-hmm. I've done stupid things when I was young too, but I don't think what they were doing was that stupid. They were just going out to take a look at the lake, and to have someone just walk up on you. And again, we're going to find out sooner or later what happened. But the thing that's happened with this, there are hundreds, if not thousands, of people that are shot every day in this country. Mm-hmm. And this made the national news. And in our present political environment, it gets blown up to the point. Is it an individual tragedy? Yes, for sure. Is it something that should be publicized above everything else that's happened? I'm not sure in that instance. I think it's a tragedy for the family. I'm not sure that having national publicity helps with that at all.
Probably not.
I think that they have some gripes that they put forward that I totally agree with. The fact that, if this person should not have done this, there's a question as to whether he's done other illegal acts since he's been here, that sort of thing. But hundreds of other people were murdered that day. So I would bet that some immigrants were murdered during that period of time by some upstanding Americans.
I mean,
and that never makes the news.
This particular instance definitely, put the ticker up on the number of illegal immigrants that have murdered somebody in the last year. One higher, but the ICE murders are still, vastly outnumbering the immigrant murders.
Yes.
Anyway, let's go ahead and.
I wanted to go a little further into this, and the reason I brought up the fact that it was a national story is because of a thing I've seen on YouTube from a professor that does sociological discussions from Penn State. Okay. And what he did was he had a Black Lives Matter conversation. Okay. And looked at in 2016 was the year that he used, because that's probably the last year at that point that was available, and talked about, okay, how many murders did the police do and how many people did they kill? Yeah. They didn't necessarily murder everybody. And they went around and asked everybody how many they thought it was going to be. And it was 960, somewhere around in there. And then they went through, okay, this is what's going on. These were white people. This is how many white people were killed. This is how many black people were killed. More white people were killed than black people, but as a percentage of the black population, it was much higher than the white population.
Okay.
So more blacks were being
Per capita.
killed per capita, which is the only way you can look at these things. But the interesting thing was then he went further down and said, okay, of the 900 people that were killed, how many of them were unarmed?
Mm-hmm.
And the kids, basically, he went around that and said, well, how many do you think it is? And well, 500 of the 900, there were really high numbers. And it was actually like, I think 48 of the 900 weren't armed or weren't trying to run them over with a car or didn't have a toy gun. They were trying to do the killed by cop routine, that sort of thing. And the thing that brought this up is our news media, because of the way they do stories, amplifies things to the point it doesn't reflect reality in a lot of instances. Because the African Americans in that class were saying, "Oh, crud, they're slaughtering us," blah 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 blah. And then once they started looking at the data, yeah, there are problems here. Meaning the percentages of blacks being killed by the cops is still high.
Yeah.
But most of them had a knife, had a gun, were trying to run them over or something like that.
And depending on what city you're in, they may or may not have actually had one, but they ended up with one.
Exactly.
So
no, I have the accuracy is always questionable.
Self-reporting only is so trustworthy.
It is
again. I understand what you're saying.
It is more difficult now that there are body cams for what you're saying to happen.
Is it?
I think it's more difficult. It's more difficult. But there is no doubt the sort of thing you're talking about happening. I'm not discounting.
I mean,
anyway,
the amount of the CPD budget that's been diverted to paying out, wrongful death lawsuits over the last 10 years is astounding.
And wrongful imprisonments. There were groups. No, let's.
That's a whole nother one.
They were gangs of police.
Well,
they were
that's
manufacturing.
a whole nother show.
So anyway, so as to provide a balance here.
Yeah.
Okay. Other local news.
What we'd like to say is, please stop killing each other.
Yes.
All of us.
Don't carry weapons around with you just because you're scared.
Actually, to be honest with you, I'm more scared when I have a gun than when I don't.
Anyway, from a weather standpoint or a yearly standpoint, we just had a Chicago Stonehenge.
Oh yeah.
And people don't realize this. This is one of the things you talk about all the time as far as the grid. The grid in Chicago, after the fire was set up, very logically.
Laid down with precision.
And you can tell in this city where you are based on the numbers because everything is set out perfectly on the grid. But the other thing that happens is once a year at the spring and fall, I don't think there are equinoxes, there's something else.
It's the
first day of spring and the first day of fall.
Yeah.
The sun lines up perfectly with the large buildings downtown.
Yeah.
And so you could get up in the morning and look to the east, and the sun would be coming up right in the road that you were on.
And it's really bright.
Yeah. So
blinded me many a spring day.
So it is an interesting thing that happens, and I don't think there are as many cities around here as you would think that's going to occur with.
Oh, like there's spots in Manhattan that do it. Mm-hmm. There's a couple other places.
No Kings. This will be our. We've gone to 3 demonstrations. I think there was only one No Kings demonstration originally. Going to take place this Saturday at 1:30 in Grant Park. And the expectation is that rather than a few thousand people, it's going to be pretty big this time. we applaud people going down there and putting their voice into what's going on right now. There was a Trib article that's interesting because it talked about, again, statistics, and
Mm-hmm.
statistics are interesting things. I've always agreed with the Will Rogers quote about statistics, which is most people use statistics the way a drunk uses a lamppost, more for support than illumination. And the Trib did a study showing that it was much more likely on our rapid transit system to have a problem, be attacked or whatever, than any other large rapid transit system in the country, and not by a little bit. And this has been something that has been discussed the last year or so,
Mm-hmm.
in a lot of cases because of Trump yelling and screaming and saying that they were going to withhold money for the transit district unless they did something about it. As someone that uses the transit district and is aware of when to do it and when not to, where to sit and where not to, all those sorts of things. I am appalled that Trump got hooked into this, but on the other hand, it's something we have to do something about.
Oh yeah.
And it's interesting that all I've seen so far is a bunch of people pointing at one another and not too much stuff being done. And this sort of falls into something we could talk about again for hours, which is, why do people believe now, and I think it's rightfully true, that right now our governments aren't working very well, and how we can get out of this rut we're in. And
Yeah.
again, I don't have a big enough brain on this one, and that's part of the reason we do this podcast, is to maybe stimulate some discussion about it, or even better, maybe someone would pay attention and say, maybe this is something we should really look at. At least hopefully, I think the city and the district itself will sort of coordinate together to do a little better.
Well, I'm a firm believer that anything Trump gets involved with is going to be some way that he's going to grift off of it, make some money for him and his people, and we're all going to get screwed.
This is great. We're sliding into the next thing.
As far as fixing America,
that's low on
unfortunately,
that's low on his list.
Like we are not ever going to be able to have the powers that be actually make reasonable changes. The change has to come from the bottom, and unfortunately, most people are happy being dumb and not giving a fuck. And that's why we're where we are at.
And I think what's happening right now is almost everybody's being affected by things.
Oh yeah.
So it will be interesting to see what happens.
The problem is we're just going to trade one group of massively corrupt people for a group of people who are also corrupt, but way better at hiding it.
And not necessarily, neither is very good at fixing any of the problems. Situation.
No.
They're very good at getting elected, not so good once they get elected.
All of the tech bros that think that they're fucking brilliant, they just have money. They don't actually have intelligence.
But that's how you basically judge people, is if they're wealthy, they are worthwhile and smart.
If you are wealthy, it means God loves you and you're a good person.
Now, this sort of sideways moves into one of the things I wanted to talk about, which is the blatant corruption that took place last week.
You're going to have to narrow it down, because there's like 5 to 10 things a day.
No, this is. We were in the bar, as we are at all various times on Monday.
Okay.
And Stark came in, and we started talking about the fact that there was a massive move in both the market and the futures market.
Oh, right before Trump threw his thing
10
down.
minutes.
Yeah.
10 minutes.
Yeah.
Before he said we're going to pause.
Yeah, and
the market shoots up 1,000.
You don't think that he's been doing this the entire last year? Every time there was like tariff bullshit.
Oh, of course.
They've been pulling this shit since he got into office, because he's got the reins and he can yank the entire thing one way or the other. And if you go and look, there's a huge spike right before he does stuff, and then a huge spike right after.
Well, it's gotten
and
to
it's
the
been
point.
going on forever.
This is,
and they're not even trying to hide it.
Yes, this was so outrageously big.
Yeah.
That it wasn't hideable.
Yeah.
In most of the other instances, it's just small shit here and there.
Oh yeah, only a couple of $1 billion here and a couple $1 billion there. It's like small potatoes. It's fine.
But in this case, it was massive and very obviously just before it.
Oh,
and
yeah.
There are actually people in Congress now saying this should be investigated. And no, it shouldn't be investigated. They should immediately now start talking to Trump and ask him how the world, all these people knew to bet that kind of money 5 minutes before you said something. That needs to be answered. And with what's happened with people who are asking Trump questions, since he has basically forced out a lot of the people.
So again, back to until we educate the masses and get people to give a fuck about the world that they live in and actually pay attention to who they're voting for, the ones that do vote, and also get all the ones who just sit around with their thumb up their ass on election day to go out, pay attention, educate themselves, and vote, we're just going to get more of the same, and it's not going to stop.
Well, especially now, because it's become so obvious. We have the problem in Congress with the fact that everybody in Congress, once they've been there a couple of years, become suddenly wealthy. We have the situation with Trump now, but all of this boils down to them feeling like they're untouchable.
Because they are. Because who's going to take them down?
Yeah.
Because they're the ones in charge.
Yeah.
And
the people that support them will support them no matter what.
When the police are the most corrupt portion of your city, you can't really expect the police to clean things up.
You want another beer?
I do, actually.
Let me go get it for you.
All right.
We're going to pause here for a second. Just because I'm closest to the bar.
I appreciate that. So, Cunneens Tavern here in Rogers Park has been around since the 1970s. Steve Cunneen was a local, well-known businessman and big golfer. The pool table here at Cunneens is haunted. It's also a 3/4 size table, coin op. There is a short stick because there's one wall with only about a 3.5 foot clearance between the side of the table and the wall. They've got an old style phone booth that now holds a ATM machine. It used to have an actual phone in it, but it was never actually wired up. But come on down and check out Cunneens on Devon Avenue. And it's not Cunneens on Devon Avenue, it's Cunneens on Devon.
They are, one of the things that's positive for me is they are a daytime bar. This place is full.
Yeah, we got
right now.
2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. We got 14 people in the bar. There were more when I came in and set up.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
I think I scared a bunch of people off just because I pulled out microphones and a camera and they're all looking at us like, what are you guys doing?
Something not good.
Yeah, unfortunately, the guys that I knew the best that used to hang out here in the afternoon all passed away in the last year or so.
Well, that's too bad.
Yep. Anyway, where were we? What were we bitching about?
I think the continued crazy.
Oh, okay. So I think the corruption's gotten bad enough. I'm switching to... I'm giving up on the existing power structures, and I've decided to start a new political movement. It's not going to be a party, though. You are encouraged to, BYO.
Is this like a bowel movement?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. It's the kerosene
party. The
kerosene movement. It's
a guy folks.
It's time just to burn it down, kinda. Except we're not gonna
use explosives.
We're not gonna get caught. We're gonna distribute this amount to lots of people, and there's gonna be little drones with Molotov cocktails. It's gonna be great.
Please don't say that. We're going to get arrested. Just for the thought. um, I, everything, like I've said on here, you come here every week or so, and you think it can't get any worse, and then it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. And
as a person who built stuff, I'm sure you are familiar with the old adage: "Don't try to idiot-proof anything; it just makes better idiots."
Oh, I could tell you stories about that.
And that's basically what we have now in our government.
The thing I was thinking about as far as what's going on, being the ex-Navy guy, is the insanity that's going on in Washington right now is putting people in our armed forces in a situation they're being worn out.
Oh, yeah.
Their equipment's being worn out. They are being worn out. The Ford, which was the one that had the laundry fire? The Ford had a laundry fire that it sounds to me like was a sabotage thing because they've arrested somebody. In the laundry caught fire, and they'd been deployed for 11 months, and probably were told.
And they were also having all sorts of plumbing problems on the ship,
they've gone.
If I remember right.
It's interesting. They basically shifted to the same sort of system that's on cruise lines.
Yeah.
Well,
and
I don't know why it wouldn't work on military ships as well as it does on cruise lines. Although on cruise lines it still has problems. Smaller pipes, bigger pressures, that sort of thing. So they weren't trying anything crazy, but this is probably one of the first times they had a system that was set up like cruise lines that used air to move the stuff through smaller pipes. Okay.
What the hell, boys?
So
okay, modern engineering. No. Jesus. It's just so dumb.
It saves in some areas, but then it cuts you later because you're unplugging a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And especially if it's not designed properly. The cruise lines have had these for a while and have designed their ships in such a way that they can get to the piping very easily.
Yeah, but that's also designed mostly for lots of diarrhea too. So instead, you got a bunch of
solid stuff,
bunch of seamen and Marines.
Be careful,
eating a lot of protein, and this is just bad design. It's bad engineering.
It doesn't help that they've had trouble with the electromagnetic catapults and things like that too, because I'm sure that in the next few weeks Donald Trump will be suggesting we go back to throwing rocks at one another because it's much more. There's less that can go wrong.
Ecologically friendly,
and there's less that can go wrong. So. Anyway,
I don't know. This shit keeps up for a little while longer. We might be reduced to rocks.
I feel for these people because, I was in the Navy during the Vietnam era.
Yeah, but at least then,
there were you cycled.
It was a terrible
6
war,
months and went back.
It was run by people who weren't stupid.
Well, I would say that McNamara was not the brightest bulb in the world, but he thought he was, but that was part of the problem. There's a certain...
Okay, would you rather have him or Hegseth?
Oh,
Let's be honest.
I would have to say McNamara, but that's only because you're really scraping the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah, and now we've got fucking Hegseth.
Well, Hegseth he is really good at one thing, and that's getting up and talking in front of people in a completely bullshitty manner and acting like he knows what he's talking about.
Oh yeah.
When
this
he
whole
has no clue.
Spoken word, like I'm a white guy trying to rap. It's fairly terrible.
It's fairly frightening.
Yeah. Anyway.
Because he's more like a used car salesman than someone that knows what they're doing.
That's very true.
Speaking of stories, did you
best
have a
government you can put on TV?
Do you have a bar story for it?
Sure.
Oh, this hold the presses.
What?
We usually don't have bar stories.
Oh no, I've got 100 of them. It's just like when it comes to time to start telling the stories, like, oh crap, I don't know what to say. I've generated 4 new bar stories in the last month.
Ooh.
Because I've been busy. This one took place probably about 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
12, 14 years ago. It was a while ago. So down
before or after COVID?
Before, way before.
Okay.
COVID was only 6 years ago.
Well, I'm just making sure here.
Yeah, this is way
relative. This is a relative.
This is way pre-COVID. So we're thinking like 2015, 2014, somewhere around there. I'd recently come back to Chicago. I'd been, not doing well financially for a long time, and I was finally getting back on my feet. I meet up with a friend, and we go down to Lady Gregory's in Andersonville. You ever been there?
Nope. Never.
Okay, very good whiskey selection.
Ah.
But that's also Andersonville. Little hoity-toity, higher class.
Oh, okay. So everything costs
you don't
more
go.
too.
Oh yeah, you don't go there for Malort. Anyway, they're with a friend of mine, and we're hanging out, having a few drinks, and they sell flights of tasty whiskey.
Ah.
And they do some like
sort of like a tasting flight.
Yeah, like really, like let's do like a half shot or a quarter shot. So, talking to the bartender, cool guy. He's telling me about all the stuff he's got. And he's like, also, I've got this bottle of like a special cask of Talisker. It was a 20-year Talisker that was made in these like brandy casks.
Yeah.
And they only did 1,000 bottles.
Yeah.
And like this bottle, they managed to get on auction for like $1,100.
Yeah.
Which was a really good price. And I'm like, okay, well, how much is a shot? And he's like, a quarter shot is $17.
Uh-huh.
I'm like, a quarter shot is $17.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I just got paid. I got a little bit of money. Screw it. I want to see what a $70 shot tastes like. I'll take the quarter shot. So he puts the bottle down, puts the shot glass down, pours a little bit to it, passes it over to me, and he leaves the bottle there.
Yeah.
And, I pick it up and I smell it, and it's like a little dab on my tongue. It's like, ooh, it was like having a pad of butter made of sunlight that just like melted on my tongue, and it was just like a transcendent experience. And I'm like, this is the best whiskey I've ever had in my life. This is ambrosia. And I'm looking at the bottle, and it was like a good 2/5 gone, 3/5 still there, and I'm like, I'm here. The door is approximately 27 feet from my chair. There's no bouncer. There's nobody in between me and the door. The bottle's right in front of me. I wait till the bartender walks away. I could just go yoink and disappear, and I just never can come back here again. And I came so close to doing it. It was so delicious.
It's interesting. I like Johnny Walker Blue. A lot of people don't because it's so smooth.
Oh, I like it.
There are a lot of whiskey people, and I consider Scotch to be still whiskey.
It is. It's just a particular kind of whiskey.
Yeah, bourbon's whiskey, stinking. Yeah. Scotch is whiskey, whatever.
Well, I did tell the bartender what I was thinking, and he laughed, and he left the bottle there as a temptation to see if I would do it.
Well, anyway, the story I have is you were
drinking some blue?
We were in Las Vegas for a convention when I was working while I was in the city council.
Yeah.
Because we were at a marijuana convention of all things.
Nice.
And we were at the bar, and they had Johnny Walker Blue there, and I said, "Well, how much for a shot of Johnny Walker Blue?" It's Las Vegas.
Yeah.
$50, $53 a shot.
Damn.
And I had the city manager with me, and I said, 2. and, and we drank it, and it was quite nice and everything, which is what I expect, because I'll buy, every once in a while I'll buy a bottle of it. But less so now. It used to be in the $140 range per bottle, and now it's over $200.
Yeah.
So, I'm circumspect about it more now.
Until recently, Black Label and Blue Label were both the same price at the
At
Oasis.
the Oasis. Until someone told everybody, if you're going to have Johnny Walker, take the black. But anyway, it just goes to show that, number one, whiskey's expensive, and number two, if you're in Las Vegas, it's 3 times more expensive than it should be. Okay. The main discussion, we're gonna talk about a whole bunch of stuff that revolves around the fact that hope in a hopeless time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of this is brought to us because of the information we get. For example, and I'm making up a statistic here. Okay, so you're aware of it.
This is an entirely self-generated statistic.
Yes.
With no actual
Although
data.
it isn't. I heard
It's
Jordan
apocryphal.
Peterson say something akin to
It's
this.
an apocryphal
Said something akin
statistic.
to this.
Okay, what is it?
Which is the poorest person in this country would be in the top 1% of most of the rest of the country.
Most of the rest of the world?
Yes, most of the rest of the world. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay.
Too much whiskey already. So, and what he's trying to say there, whether it's statistically right or not, is that we deal with relativism all the time.
Yeah.
In other words, yeah, if I stand next to Elon Musk, I'm in a lot of trouble economically. But if I stand next to a person in Uganda that makes $40 a year, I'm a stinking wealthy guy. And the same thing in various parts of the world now are being populated by retirement people from our country that move there
And
because
drive
they
up
can
the
live
rent.
much. They do that, there's no doubt.
Make
But they
the,
also
what's the
are able
locals
to
really
live a lot cheaper.
Oh
than
yeah,
here.
absolutely.
And so,
I'd also just like to point out that most of the really poor countries, the way of life is just very different to begin with.
there's no doubt.
They don't send themselves off to enforced 40-hour work weeks and drive themselves crazy the way that we do.
I think that there are cultural differences. There is no doubt.
Oh, I'm talking just purely economically.
Well,
Yeah.
and I'm saying that
You've
it's,
got
it's
some
more
places
than
where
that.
it's subsistence
More than-
farming and you're struggling to stay alive, but you are the one that's setting your time.
Yep.
We're comparing, apples and hand grenades.
Well, of course, but we do that all the time.
Yeah.
And what this all brought to me was it's sort of focused on something I heard on some right-wing stuff.
Okay.
Because I try and spend time on YouTube looking at right-wing stuff to tell myself what they're thinking and why they're thinking that way.
Yeah. That's why I watch Fox News at least 45 minutes a week.
With a timer.
No, it's just normally after 45 minutes, I either find myself agreeing and then I realize, oh my God, they've gotten to me. The subliminal messaging works. Or I'm so pissed off that I need to turn it off. Otherwise, I'm going to go blow something up.
Well, in all these discussions, there is a battle going on now on the internet between
Everybody and everybody
between
else.
the red pill group and women. And there are women on the red pill side.
I am so annoyed that they took that and made it their own, even though it's so
yeah.
fucking stupid.
Well, but they did it, and you have to deal with it now.
The metaphor isn't even right. It's like, oh, I'm in the real world. No, you're in a fucking self-delusion, you dumb fucks. Jesus fucking Christ.
And they would
women
say,
don't like me because they're bitches. No, it's because you don't fucking take a shower and you have no fucking self-respect to begin with.
well,
God damn.
I mean,
Sorry.
okay.
The manosphere needs to go the way every other evolutionary dead end eventually gets to. The only saving grace is none of these fuckers are going to reproduce, and the ones that do
Well,
won't live long.
there are 2 or 3 things going on here I wanted to talk about.
Which is great.
The first one was we're sort of going back to a more, I don't more. I was going to say medieval, but it's even before that, and more society when we were in clans and everything else. And what I mean by that is, women have put themselves in a position that they have now a checklist of what they want. So do men. I'm not saying that that's unusual. But the problem is that they're all trying to go after the same person. And in effect, what we've created are mini harems in our environment where 10 women are of various appearances, meaning it can be everyone from an average looking woman to a really good looking woman, are attached to the same guys because they want someone, and I can go over the list for you. They've got to be over 6 feet tall. They've got to make more than $100,000 a year, and actually that's low. Some women say $5 million a year. Okay, that and there's an entire list of what needs to go on here.
Okay.
This is given from women. It is not something that's made up by.
Oh no. I know what you're saying is true, but you're presenting it as if this is all women now, and it's not.
But that's like saying
there are a group of women who do this. Yes,
yeah, exactly.
They are like
I will agree with
2% of the women.
No,
in
I
America.
don't know that that's the case. You don't either, and you don't either.
No offense, I actually talk to more women than you do.
I don't know that that's true.
I would bet money.
My point on this.
You watch more YouTube than I do, then. I will give you that.
My point on this is the battle is create the sort of statistical battle that we talked about a little bit earlier about you grabbing things and saying these are the reasons I believe that. And a lot of the red pill women talk about one particular statistic, and that is the fact that women in 1970 were happier than they are now. And there are various studies. The generals
are the women who were alive in 1970 saying this.
Well, they do it every year. It is not something they did it in 1970 and they did it this year. So there's a mix of women.
Okay, first of all, who's they?
I'm going over that if you'll give me a second. There are 2 major groups. The General Society Survey, which focused mostly on from 1972 to 93, so it's 25 years out of date. The National Bureau of Economic Research, which basically goes from 1970 to 2009. And then a Branch Flowers Oswald thing, which is a little further along than this. But there's a lot of contradictory stuff in there, and there's a lot of gleaming that goes on. And what happens in these discussions is what I would agree with is that most of the women that come on these things are picked because they're not very up to date or educated.
Yeah.
And therefore they can be ridiculed.
Okay.
I think that is part of the thing that goes on. And there is a wife and husband group that does a lot of this. He debates a lot and is basically an asshole. And she, they'll say things like, "Why does your wife come on and talk about this?" And he'll say, "Oh, okay, I'll go get her and put her on." And she basically says that you guys are all fucked up and this is the reason why and everything else. But the study that she talks about all the time are these studies that say that women's happiness has basically gone down over the last 50 years. Now,
So there's a direct correlation between women being less happy and the fact that they're beaten less now.
I'm not sure that you know that, considering. Do you have a statistical basis for this, or do you just believe that this was so?
Just the people I know and I talk to.
Well, that's
And the fact
again,
that
a fairly
and the
narrow.
fact that I know a bunch of people in the BDSM community. So yeah.
That's another whole matter. If they want. But my point is, I'm trying to...
I see what you're saying, but you also have to take into account that in 1970, a woman couldn't even like buy property without, assistance.
No, in 70s they could. In 70s they could
in
get
a lot of places.
credit
They couldn't.
In 70s they could have credit.
Not in 1970.
Yes, they could.
Yes,
they could.
Okay.
Yeah,
My mother couldn't.
Well, I'm just saying that
a rich chick could.
Well, I'm not.
I'm just saying it was a very different world.
A poor guy.
I'm also going to tell you I don't believe that
guy.
Because depending on who they were actually interviewing and the sample size they were dealing with,
would
and
you
the
let me
people who
finish
were doing
here
it,
before you attack me?
I'm not attacking you. I'm attacking that
what
study
I'm
as a
saying
source.
is, I was going to the point you're going to.
Okay, we'll get there.
Okay. I don't disagree with what you're saying. I'm saying that this is an instance where someone has picked up, from my perspective, a flawed survey. It had information, but it also is in a position that people's perspectives change over time. People could be less happy now for very specific reasons. For instance, they could be less happy now because there are more single mothers than there were in 1970. Okay? They could be less happy because men are assholes now for whatever reason. There are 1,000 different reasons that this could be going on.
I would be more apt to say that in the 1971, likely women were self-reporting, saying that they were happy because they wanted to get the image of, I've got the perfect little house because I'm the perfect little housewife, and I don't want my neighbors to know that I'm fucking miserable, drunk on wine and taking pills.
There is no doubt that that's possible, but the corollary is true now.
All right, so what's the point of bringing up these studies?
But the point of bringing it up is that we're bludgeoning one another using imperfect stuff and acting like we know what's going on when we really don't. The society that we live in now is completely different than it was in 1970.
Shit, it's completely different than it was in 2019.
From an economic standpoint, you didn't have the divergence of what owners and people working in businesses were making. You could afford to live on one salary.
Oh yeah, it was only like 200 times CEO versus employee, as opposed
more like
to
45.
200,000 times.
It was more like 45 there.
Yeah, well, but that also depends on which company you're at, I guess.
I think it's an average, if I remember correctly. But what we tend to do is try and find these little things that we can ascribe these big movements to. This is really a problem because of feminism. Okay, this is a problem because of this. This is a problem because of that, and the situation is much too complex for that. And more than that, a lot of these discussions that are being had are set up, from my perspective, by people who are in charge that want us fighting among ourselves rather than trying to actually solve problems. And I think part of the hopelessness that people feel now is the fact that everything they believed in just isn't true.
Yeah.
We talk about the fact that we are a nation that believes in individual freedom, except if you're transgender. Then you've got a problem.
Or a minority, or
I picked the transgender because that was something that's
racial. Racial minority.
Right. Yeah, there are all sorts of reasons that we can be separated. Is what it boils down to. But there are certain things that we should be all committed to.
Okay.
And one of them is individual freedom. You know, I'm terrible with understanding a lot of things. I'm terrible with pronouns, with everything else. But my view is very simple. If someone is transgender, that is their belief, and they should be able to have it. I don't have no problem with it. I have no problem with gays, with lesbians, you know, with anyone, as long as they're in a position that they respect my rights and they're not doing anything stupid that affects other people.
And
this is part of our problem as a society, as a culture. We say we're for individual freedom, except, and the except comes in and it screws everything up. Because that except is the thing that people in power use to separate us.
Yeah.
You know, the classic example is during when gay people first started coming out.
I'm assuming you're talking in America, because
when this was even during the time I was in college, gay people.
They've been out in India for thousands of years.
Well, and in Thailand, and other places where they have lady boys and everything else that go on.
Anyway.
But aside from that,
also don't say that again.
Don't say what.
Never mind. We're gonna let it
go. No, we're not gonna let it go. My point is that we've got to get out of this situation where we make judgments on people when we don't need to. There are circumstances where I think we need to make judgments. I think right now the country needs to make a judgment about Donald Trump. It's fairly obvious. And not from a political standpoint, from the standpoint I think the guy is fucking crazy right now.
Oh, absolutely. It has been for a while, but...
and yet,
enough of our dumbass fellow citizens
37% of the population still thinks everything's okay. And the reason they think it's okay is
37% of the population that's paying attention and can respond.
37% of the population,
which is about
supports him, not because he is a good person and trying to do the right thing.
Because he was on TikTok,
but because he hates the right people
and the memes.
Okay. You continue for a while.
I'm just gonna sidetrack and say individual freedom, personal liberty. These are cornerstones of what this country is founded on. But the thing that I think is the main reason we have fallen astray is that there was an implied personal responsibility and civic responsibility that our founders understood implicitly and didn't bother to write it in because they assumed that people weren't going to turn into giant assholes.
Well, and
big assholes, yes, but giant ones, no. They never envisioned somebody like Donald Trump.
We're going to go back now.
Personal responsibility needs to be tied to personal liberty.
Totally agree.
And we live in a world right now where nobody seems to take responsibility for anything they do, let alone what anybody else does.
Well, but they like to make comments and do things to other people that they disagree with, though, too. I mean, the thing from my standpoint that Donald Trump's people like about him the most is the fact that he beats up on people, that he's an asshole.
Yeah. Well,
And-
verbally and litigiously and economically.
every way that you can think.
Well, not physically because he would hurt his little hands.
Well, and more than that, there's already a thing going on with Jesse Ventura. I don't know if you've heard about this.
No,
There's a thing where Jesse has basically gotten into a rigmarole with him and said, "Look, we need to go into the ring and finish
oh, that'd be funny.
this." Well, you have talked
I mean,
about
I
that.
can take Jesse Ventura right now.
I'm not sure about that. He is an awfully big guy.
Yeah, but he's also like your age.
Well, what difference does that make?
His bones are not as strong as they used to be. I'm just saying, Jesse, I would take you on. I think it would be a fun fight.
Anyway, what I'm striving to do here.
Also, I would love to see that match. That would be great.
Yes, what I'm striving to do here is say that nothing about what's happening now is a surprise.
Sadly, no.
And this is just my perspective, it has no basis in fact in any way. We are in some ways in late stage democracy, as we are in late stage capitalism too. But that's another whole matter.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is the way people get elected now is to tell people they're going to get free stuff. Republicans get elected by saying to everyone, we're going to give tax cuts to our buddies.
Yeah. Well, they say they're going to give tax cuts to everybody, but then they give permanent tax cuts to themselves and 2-year tax cuts to everybody else, and the percentages are insane.
The Democrats basically do it in a different way. We're going to give everybody free stuff as far as food stamps, whatever.
We're going to do this, that, and other thing. Yeah.
Whatever.
And
This is something
deficit
that democracy as a concept has had since the beginning.
Yeah.
And this is the reason I keep bringing up at times, and you keep looking at me like I'm crazy, about the fact that this is one of the things the Greeks, who basically was one of the groups that started it,
Sure.
had this discussion about it. There were lots of philosophers in Greece that thought that democracy would never work because of the tendency that we're seeing now for an extension of what you're talking about, people not understanding responsibility.
I think that my looking at you like you're crazy, like you're mixing it up when I'm at, I totally agree with that. Yeah.
So we have not come to the realization that we do have individual responsibility as far as who we elect, what they really are going to provide to us.
Yeah.
And how they're going to support long term everything working out well.
And right now, as far as I can tell, nobody in politics is even trying to do that because their entire focus is on staying in power, getting more power,
being reelected,
raising the funds they need to stay in power.
It is an interesting thing that a lot of the people that get elected to Congress complain immediately about the fact that they spend almost all their time
fundraising. Yeah.
Their staff does a lot of the work.
Yeah.
But the problem is, as a elected official, that's the stuff you are supposed to be doing.
Mm-hmm.
You're supposed to be thinking about things and working on that rather than calling it donors that have a lot of money.
Yeah.
And finding out what they want.
And then getting it to them, which is
absolutely.
Basically, that's just corruption in and of itself.
And my perception when we're talking about hope and hopelessness and things that are going on is all of this falls together with what's going on in the economy, in creating Jimmy Carter didn't get reelected because he talked about the malaise that was occurring in our country, and that has just continued.
Well,
we had
that was
Ronnie,
one
one
of many reasons why he didn't get reelected, but.
Well, but that was, I think, one of the major ones. Actually,
it was not insignificant.
My feeling, on Jimmy Carter is he sacrificed his political career to let Paul Volcker do what was necessary to bring inflation under control.
Mm-hmm. And no good deed goes unpunished.
Exactly.
And we're all still suffering from Reaganomics.
More than people can believe, because the thing people don't understand is how the system worked when we had a middle class. It was really pretty simple.
Mm-hmm.
Unions got paying jobs, got jobs that you could have a house, you could have a car, your wife could stay home if you wanted to.
Especially if you were white.
Right. That's another whole matter, and we could talk about that in some other episode. But they also forced non-union people to increase their salary. Because if you had good people,
Mm-hmm.
we had a union shop, but we were in a position that we actually had a union next to us that paid better.
Mm-hmm.
So we were in a position we had to make sure that we paid enough that
So
we
you
didn't
could
lose
retain your
good people.
Yeah.
And that's what happens throughout society.
Yep.
So there is an equilibrium that occurs because of that. As soon as Reagan basically destroyed unions,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not, unions had their own problems.
Well,
There's
the
no doubt
point was
about
not to get rid of the corruption in the unions. The point was to get rid of the unions. And they pulled that off well, but they used the corruption that was in the unions as the excuse to destroy the union. So they threw, proverbially, the baby out with the bathwater, and now we're just covered in dead babies.
And
I
blame,
in reality,
and I blame,
literally something.
you're gonna love this one. I blame the Kennedy family for this.
Okay.
And the fact that Robert Kennedy was made stinking attorney general and decided he was going to go after unions and had a hard on for the Teamsters.
You know what? I am all for holding, criminal enterprises to account. Again, you do it the right way where you can maintain what's good for everybody without destroying what's good for everybody. You could have gone after the corrupt leadership and not just screwed everybody in the process.
You could have gone after corruption.
Honestly, I've never been a fan of the Kennedys.
Well, they
understand
they
have been canonized.
What I would say, I would say this. I would say
they were a
the
rich
Kennedys,
dynasty family, and those guys
Kennedys were suits in the same way Gavin Newsom is a suit.
Sure.
Meaning they were good looking. They
Oh,
said the right things. They blah blah blah. The thing that cemented John F. Kennedy's legacy was Lyndon Johnson. Because Lyndon Johnson did the hard work. He got the Voting Act through. He did all sorts of things as far as Medicare and various other programs that were put in place at that time. At the expense, I might add, of the whole South.
Yep.
So, the people that have this, canonization of the Kennedys don't understand as far as I'm concerned. I think that they were really good at talking and not so good at getting things done. And when I was in politics, it was very easy to tell the people that were workers and the people that were talkers.
Yeah.
And the Kennedys were real talkers as far as I'm concerned because they were too busy trying to screw a bunch of women.
I mean,
but that's just me.
I can't fault them for that.
I can't fault anyone from having sex. I think the using power and
John had good taste in chicks. I will give him that.
They could afford it. Anyway, have we beaten this one to death?
No, but I'm trying to figure out where we even go at this point. I had a thought, but I was letting you finish your thought, and then I lost my thought because I realized I'm out of beer. And,
you want another one?
I'm going to get another one, but I think I'm okay for the moment.
Okay.
Oh, no, I know what it was.
Oh, okay.
So the red pill, blue pill bullshit looped back around in my head, and I did not come up with this. I can't even say it right, but I'm going going to do my best to get the thought across, because I really like it. There's a scene in The Matrix after Neo goes to the construct the first time, and then he goes to the training program, and Morpheus is like, these people are so ingrained in the system that they will defend it with their very lives. And I regularly will look around in the world, and it's like 99% of the people I've met in my life don't realize that the way that we live is massively unnatural.
Well,
and there are other ways that we can actually live, yet most people, like, this is the only life they've ever known. They've never conceived of living a different kind of life.
There is the discussion about the educational system being an enculturation rather than anything else.
Oh, the educational system, also just our entire culture,
right?
All of our media, everything that we are exposed to is all just pushing us into the little box, so we stay in the little box.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
You know, I find myself like, this is just how it is. I have to deal with it. I have to have a job. I have to work. When I see somebody post on the internet, it's like, I love life. Life is awesome. I quit my job. I'm homeless. I piss whenever I want. I take meth. It's fucking great. It's like, I've never felt so alive. Like, maybe that's actually the right way to go. I don't know. But we're also kind of trapped in this world where, you've got people saying that they're red-pilled, but they're the least red-pilled people you'll ever meet. Unless red pill means that you've gone, full-on racist, misogynist, and you think you know everything.
Well,
there is 5 YouTube videos.
There is no doubt that there are racial and anti-Semitic groups involved in that. There's no doubt.
Oh yeah, and they've hijacked,
But I would say that's true too. A lot of the racist, anti-Semitic groups have hooked on to the red pill, and because as far as I'm concerned, the red pill, as far as I can see, is basically a reaction to feminism from the standpoint of people that feel like they have no place in the world right now, that they can't find someone, that they're in a position that they're, the guys that are sitting on their couch playing video games all day, which is probably most of the red pill people,
wondering why women aren't just like banging down the door saying, take me, you beast.
I'm not sure that that's it. See, we're talking about societal enculturation in a lot of ways here.
Yeah.
When we were going to school in 1960,
yeah,
the relationship between men and women was fairly set in place. You as a man.
Where you were, yes.
Well, I'm talking about in the United States.
Yes, where you were, yes.
The responsibility for talking to a woman and everything else basically resided with the guy. Mm-hmm. The guy was supposed to walk up to them, talk to them, get to know
slap
them.
them on the ass.
Well,
tell them they had nice tits.
I will tell you this. In the entire time of the 60s and 70s, no one I ever knew slapped a woman on the ass.
Okay. So you're saying Mad Men wasn't completely accurate?
I'm saying Mad Men was a representative of a particular part of the culture. People that had gotten to the point that they were making a lot of money and could get away with shit, especially considering in the corporate structure. Even in the late 70s and 80s, a lot of that crap was going on. There's no doubt about it. But what I'm saying is, my experience, which is the only thing I can talk about, is
nobody slapped your ass. I understand.
No. I'm not saying no one slapped my ass. I'm saying I don't know of anyone that slapped a woman's ass in that period of time, of anyone I knew. I mean, of someone they didn't know and weren't going with and everything else. Yeah, if someone could have rubbed someone's butt when they were going with someone, but I don't know of anyone, a woman walks by in a circumstance and you whap them on the butt. That just did not happen unless you were a Hell's Angel.
Well, it was definitely happening in the roadhouses that I grew up in the late 70s. So,
well, I'm not going to say anything about where you were then. But my point, and what I'm trying to get back to is, this was a tough environment for both parties. For men, it was a world of rejection.
okay.
And what I mean by that is, you understood that if you approached and talked to a woman and then asked her to go out, even after she knew you or you went to school with them or anything else, there was a very good possibility that they would say, no, I don't want to go out with
Sure.
you. Okay? And it was expected. It was something we were trained to expect.
Yeah.
Now, the problem is that expectation sort of died, as far as I can see, with some guys. They thought, oh, if I'm going to be in a position that I go up to a woman, she should be thankful that I'm going to ask her out. Which, I'm serious.
No. I know you're right, and I'm agreeing with you. I forget these things sometimes, and I need to just go around and smack all of them with a wiffle ball bat.
And my point is,
Jesus. You kids these days,
you can't
get off the phone.
You can't
go talk to a girl.
You have
get
to
rejected.
Exactly. You have
fucking
to accept,
grow some balls.
You have to accept
Thicken
rejection
some skin.
if you're going to be
nothing
successful.
ventured, nothing gained.
And I will tell you that of all the women I ever asked out, my luck was probably 25-30%. Somewhere around that.
That's pretty good. I was at like 7 or 8%.
But
I
you
also
you have to expect that. And this generation of men
they're a bunch of wimps.
I would agree.
I would agree
that they grew up in
I would call you pussies, but you lack the depth and warmth.
Or you haven't been trained.
Yeah, I think my generation.
We go back to
my generation failed their kids.
I don't know about that. What I'm saying is,
I definitely failed mine.
In relationships, there's an expectation on the male side of failure. Okay, and you have to understand that. I was friends with a guy that was completely happy with that, meaning he would just go up to anyone and just
shoot a shot,
proposition them and everything else continuously. And every once in a while it would work, and he was relatively happy.
You ask out 100 chicks, 2 or 3 of them are going to say yes. One of them's going to put out.
Well, there you go. He was more in the quantity matters situation. But what happens now?
Mass mailing of dating.
What happens now is a lot of men have been raised to be too sensitive.
Mm-hmm.
And what is part of what's causing the situation we're talking about.
Ooh.
Okay, you go
yes,
ahead.
But no.
What is it then?
I don't know. They're raised to be like, you can have feelings, but they were never taught how to actually deal with them. It's like, it's okay, you can cry. It's okay.
Well,
part of the problem is technology, the rise of
the rise of every
electronic
social media
instant communication and real-time tracking. Like it used to be, if you called somebody, they might not be home. You'd leave a message, and then you would wait an unknown period of time to get something
this is where
back.
You're
Before then, you'd have to write a letter.
Or you could,
now,
if someone called and you did not answer it, you would not know what it was because there wasn't an answer.
I can text the girl that I want to hang out with, and then I get freaked out if she doesn't immediately respond. Oh my God, what do I do? Also, they spend all their time crafting their online persona and getting just the right pictures and just the right filters and just like, oh yeah, I'm living my best life, blah, blah. But in reality, they're all just sitting on their couch,
exactly, and
scared to death to go out.
The problem you have is from a statistical standpoint, women, because they're in a social situation, they're looking at dating apps, pick the same people.
Okay, well,
They're
okay.
in a position that an average guy is at
Looping
a
back
disadvantage.
to that, the digital, dating has also done a number on women. And yes, you are right. There is a subset of women who there is like a 10-to-1 match where these 10 women are all glomming
It's
onto
not a
one guy.
subset. It's not a subset. It's the majority. Of
No. The majority have checked out. The majority have stopped trying.
Okay.
The majority looks at it just to see, and they scroll, and they're like, no, and then they just stay home.
Yeah.
The majority are not participating. And I can say that with some authority because
you've
when
done
was the last time?
statistical work.
No, I've been part of the statistics. How many dating app profiles have you had?
0.
Yeah, how many have I had?
How many of you
Like
had?
37.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I may be single, but it's not for lack of trying, man.
I'm not going to say anything about that.
Multiple attempts on multiple different sites over multiple decades.
That's pretty frightening.
Sucks, man. It's hard out here, dude.
Well, and so what can we do here?
Arranged marriages, maybe? I don't know.
Well, you laugh.
I mean, it depends on what the point of it is. If it's for love, you're fucked. If it's a domestic partnership where you're going to have some kids and perpetuate the species and have,
and that,
your rent make more sense, then yeah, that works fine.
One of the discussions that takes place online that's interesting from my perspective is the discussion about happiness, women and happiness, and what occurs. I almost said what happens, which would be a bad way of phrasing.
What happens is
what occurs. And again, this is just my perception of things. Is you get caught in a cycle of not understanding the situation. Let me put it this way: if you're an average-looking woman and you're on a dating app and you switch whichever direction it is, left or right, to try and get a guy to talk to you. And you pick a very attractive guy that's a fraternity guy that's got money and everything else. The likelihood is that he will contact you and he will go out with you and he will do everything he can to screw you.
Yeah.
He won't commit to you.
Assuming that he, goes even that far.
Yeah, he won't commit to you.
Okay.
But he'll take advantage of the situation.
Okay.
If you're in a situation that you're an average-looking guy, and I consider you to be an average-looking guy.
Thanks, I appreciate that.
Number one, they don't sweat. They don't choose you. And number two, that puts you in a position that you look at your social media every day and, well, another day, no one wants to talk to me. And that multiplies the situation we've been talking about here. And what it does too. This is something I do believe is true. There's a statistic that if you have more than 5 partners in your life, if you have 1 to 5,
Okay.
the likelihood of a marriage lasting is about 80%.
Okay.
If you have above 5, the likelihood of it lasting is 20%.
Okay.
And what people will say who are negative to this is that what has happened is you've gone out with all those 9 and 10 guys that have a lot of money and are really good looking and think that you have settled for the average guy, who is actually the guy that's in your ballpark when it comes down to it. So their point is that social media has created an environment that women have a real high vision of what I should have.
Okay.
Okay. Now, I think that this is a relatively good observation. I wouldn't go totally that far, but if you're in a position that you've gone out with 30 guys and 5 of them are really attractive, nice guys that have a lot of money and everything else, and then you end up with Charlie, who makes $50,000 a year, works hard, is a nice guy, you pine for those other guys that didn't select you.
Okay.
You're in a position, you pine for them, and ultimately think I settled for you, starts causing friction. It is part of the reason there is a divorce rate of 50% now, which is actually higher than that if you've had a lot of partners. So my whole point is I don't know shit about all this because I got married.
I was gonna say
at
for
21,
for somebody who's been married for
And
longer than I've been alive,
I
you
got
seem
married-
to know what it's like to be a woman in the modern world.
I don't know at all. I'm just putting forth what I see, and it confuses the hell out of me, and it makes me sad. It really makes me sad because I was so lucky, and I found the person who is. I more than love her. She's my best friend.
Mm-hmm.
And there are a lot of reasons that happened. I could have a whole episode describing why I think this worked. But in all our families, most of our generation has not divorced either. There is one divorce in our family that I know of, and I'm talking about the extended family, not just. And that was the woman that was involved left that person who was a member of our family for various reasons. That's another whole matter because he's a bit of a jerk. But for the most part, we came up in a situation that our parents stayed together. There were problems. There were fights. There were bad periods of time. There were times when my dad was on strike for 6 months and things were shit. There were all sorts of things that were going on in those situations, but everybody stuck.
Yeah.
Right now, that doesn't happen. People don't stick. At the first sign of, holy shit, this is a problem, everybody runs for the hills.
That's also not entirely true.
Well, I'm sticking to that one.
It's like my parents' generation, which coincides with your generation. 20% of the marriages stay together. Almost all of my
Only 20%?
all of my aunts and uncles have been married more than once.
Well, my feeling is once
My generation, like half of us never got married.
My point is that once that's cracked, once you're in a position that you believe that this should be all happiness and bells and whistles and everything's going to be perfect all the time, once you assume that position, divorce becomes a real problem.
I don't necessarily think it is a real problem.
Well, it depends.
I think marriage is a horrible thing in most cases.
Well, it depends. I have zero problem with a man and woman divorcing if they have no kids. I have a massive problem if they divorce when they have kids.
Assuming, how about after the kids have grown up and moved out?
That's not a problem.
Okay. So again, I'm fine with that as well. And I'm pretty sure the only reason we should ever have marriage is when there are kids involved.
I don't disagree with that. And what I would say
the state
is,
should not be involved.
What I would say with that is this: if there is any violence, and I'm not talking about yelling at one another and talking to one another, if either party, because there are just as many women that whack on men as there are men that whack on women.
Use a different term.
There is a difference. But what I'm saying is, if there's any physical violence involved, I have absolutely no trouble in a divorce thing, because that that just should not exist. Because again, we grew up with you don't hit girls, you don't hit women, and now, holy shit.
Yep. No.
For instance, Rocky, we would talk about things. She weighs 112 pounds. I weigh 215, and I'm a foot taller than her. And she would come up to me and be frustrated with something and whack me in the chest or something like that. And I would look down and think, that's not a big deal.
Yeah.
I'm talking about.
I know what you're saying.
I'm talking about when it goes
Actual
to the frying pans.
abuse.
Yeah, when it gets to the frying pans.
Actual abuse.
That's another whole matter. And
all right, I think we've beaten this one to death.
Well, and I think we need to get some ladies involved in this. I need to get Zen back.
Okay, my friend Alex, she's definitely in.
Good.
Trained psychologist, so.
Well, then I'm not so sure then at that point.
Feminist.
Well, good.
Good. She's smarter than I am.
Well,
so it doesn't take that much, but.
No, that's not true.
We'll get her in. I'm trying to maintain expectations, man.
I know, but what I'm going to say is that I think smart is a term that is misused a lot. And what I mean by that is people are smart about different things. I had people that worked with me and for me in my work life. There were some of the most brilliant people in the world as far as mechanical stuff and doing things like that were told their entire time in school that they were stupid shits. Okay? People have different strengths and weaknesses. And I think our classification of smart and dumb, I mean, we consider right now Elon Musk to be smart, when in reality, I think he's one of the more stupid people that I've ever seen.
He's very good at investing his money.
Well, and lucky. People always underestimate.
He's only hitting like 50%.
That's still better than most.
Like, it's a flip of a coin, man.
But what I'm saying
is, he's lost more money than I'll ever see. My entire family will ever see.
Well, absolutely. He's done that in an afternoon.
Yeah.
But my point is, this is my perspective, that we too often underestimate people's intelligence in their whole area.
Right,
the whole thing.
I personally don't. And I overestimate people's intelligence.
Well, you're
regularly screwed by it.
You're a gentleman and a scholar, then.
Neither.
You may say
I have a library card, and I was taught the golden rule.
Which golden rule?
Don't
hit anyone.
Do unto others the way that you hope for them to do unto you.
Okay. This has been an interesting discussion, as usual.
Yeah, we definitely weaved.
And we've solved absolutely nothing.
There's a little bit of a line dance.
Because of the fact that neither of us knows the solution to anything.
Oh, no, I've got a solution.
Well,
but it's the last.
It revolves around you being elected as El Supremo, though, and that's pretty dangerous.
No. We blow up the sun.
Well, that will solve everything.
And it takes care of all the problems. We obliterate the entire solar system, no more problems.
Well, we're sort of doing that slowly anyway, which is another problem.
Which is why I say let's just blow the sun up, get it over fast. It'll be a really cool light show for like 10 minutes, and then boom. Just got to make sure you time it so that you've got a view.
And everyone has a drink.
No reason to save alcohol if we're all about to get vaporized.
Anyway, we appreciate anyone that's listened to this mess.
I will get the website updated soon.
We never say subscribe and watch us, but please
You
do
can't
that.
keep saying we never do it because you've done it 3 times in a row now.
Oh, I have?
Yeah.
Today?
Well, no, like the last 3 podcasts.
Oh, well, those are weeks ago. I'm 77 years old. I can't remember what I did this morning.
Fair enough. Okay. Well, say it again. Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. We appreciate it. We're going to actually try and advertise a little bit more and do some things.
He's in charge of the comments, so if you say something and he doesn't respond, it's on him.
Well, the only person we've ever gotten a comment from, I have actually responded to.
Oh, cool.
We don't generally get comments, and there goes the fire truck.
I'm amazed that was the first emergency vehicle that went shooting by. Anyway, once again,
there's another one.
We're saying goodnight from Cunneens.
From Cunneens, a very
give us,
nice bar.
This was our view tonight.
Oh, there you go. We've been watching the street, watching the
quite lovely
buses go by.
And that says, thank you. Come back and see us again sometime.
Exactly, and sometime we'll agree on something. Maybe.
We agree on all sorts of stuff.